Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to show you seamless unification of multiple data sources with Percipient's UniConnect. Let's get started. First, what we are going to show you is in my Windows machine, we have got IBM MQ Explorer installed. It's a handy tool which will help you to create beautiful MQ based architectures, and as you can see on the screen, we are now showing you how to create a queue manager. As you can see, we have created a queue manager called percipient.manager.1. All you need to do to create a queue manager is to go to this window, new, and then type in the queue manager name. Ignore the other fields and then proceed. After creating the queue manager, if you are expanding, then you will be able to see another feature to create or start that queue manager. And once the queue manager is started, you will see a lot of options below, like creating queues, topics, etc. And in this example, we are taking queues as an example. And I'm right clicking queues, and then let's create a queue called Q1. As you can see on my screen, all you need to do again is to right click and create a new queue and give a name to that queue, and normally you will create a local queue. You can create as a remote queue as well using this particular tool. Once you have created a queue, the next is you have to set the channel through which the communication is occurring. Okay, so you can create a server connection channel and give a name, say channel 1 for the server connection. And if you have applications which uses clients to connect, in our case we are going to use it, we are going to create a client connection channel as well, and make sure that the MCA ID is being filled with an authentication information. So if you're going to the client connection, you can create again a new client connection channel, and you can give a unique name to that, as you can see on the screen. Once all these things are done, we can go to the option called listeners, and if you double click listeners, as you can see that at port 1414 the queue manager is listening, right? And you can also see the created time, etc. So that's an indication that your queue manager has been created successfully and it is listening on port 1414. This is the basic setup that is required. And now you can go to your Windows command prompt, because we are going to type some commands to deal with this particular MQ. The first command is going to that particular queue manager details by creating this particular variable. If you want to see why I typed that percipient exclamation manager 1 exclamation, if you go to that directory, you can see that the queue manager's name will be created with that exclamation symbols by IBM MQ software. And then you can see there is that particular IPCC inside that folder. So you have to set this particular variable, and if you want to go to logs or want to see logs, then you can go inside the logs and you can see that first file which is ending with 1.log to see any errors while you write your code. That's a good troubleshooting a source. Once you set this variable, the next parameter that you need to set is to set the environment, right? So we are going to set the environment by calling another script, and these scripts are already available as part of the IBM MQ Explorer installation. Next, we are going to use two important utilities. First one is for putting messages into the queue. And what we are going to do now is we are going to run the command to put messages to the queue. As you can see, it is ending with a put command, and you have to provide the queue manager that you have created just now. So we are going to put a message to the queue. While we press enter, it is going to give you two messages telling that you can type anything there. Basically, whatever you type there will be going inside the queue as a message. So let's type hello world, right? And then again enter. Next message you can type there. This is from, let's say, Jacksonville, Florida, and you can you know uh, give whatever messages you like there, and you can just press enter key twice so that you will come out. Next, what you need to do is just to check whether everything is correct or not, right? So you can now run the get program, right? And you again provide the queue manager name there, right? And please note the difference. It is a get command as opposed to the put command that we have executed earlier. And the moment you execute it, press the enter key, you will see that all the messages that you have entered earlier are being retrieved from the queue, which indicates that our basic installation and the basic architecture is absolutely fine, right? Let's also show you one more thing, that in this machine I am running Oracle software as well. So let me start Oracle. It will take a while. The reason is that at a later point of time, what we are going to show you is Percipient's UniConnect product, which has got the ability to unify the data seamlessly from multiple data sources. So one of the data sources that we will be using for getting the data is Oracle. So we have the Oracle XC installation on this machine, and what we are doing is going to the services and then starting the Oracle XC. You will have to start the TNS listener as well immediately after you complete your XC startup, which means that the system is running the queue manager as well as Oracle, right? So let's just wait a couple of seconds here to get it started. Yeah. So once it is started, the next step would be to start a listener. Sometimes, the listener may have to be restarted. So we can just check whether everything is running or not. So what we will do is that let's start UI. Squirrel client is one of the very widely used UI, right? And make a connection and then try to execute a particular command to select star. As you can see, the listener is not up. So what we will do is just stop the listener and then just restart the listener one more time, right? And then you can go back to the Squirrel client and we will double click the Squirrel client's Oracle based alias that is being created. It's very easy to create an alias, and on the left hand side I have got that alias, and then give the user ID and password, and then select the query select star from EMP and click on the run button, and as you can see, you got the EMP table, right? This is just I'm using as client to check whether the Oracle is running perfectly or not. So given that we have got Oracle running and MQ Manager running, it's time to go to the next machine where we are now going to configure other components. All right. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to execute some commands, right? And one of the very important thing that we need for messaging is Kafka. And what we are going to do is we are going to start Kafka. Kafka has got a dependency on Apache Zookeeper. So what we are doing here is that we are starting Zookeeper on port 2181, which is the default port. And as you can see the message, the Zookeeper is started. And once the Zookeeper is started, then you can go to Kafka, and you have to start the Kafka server before you create any queues, right? So let us type a command to create a particular messaging queue, and let's type the command. Yeah, before you do that, we will have to start the Kafka server. So this command is not going to work unless I start it. So let's go back to the Kafka server again, and then do a bin/Kafka server start.sh, and you have to pass the configuration parameters, server.properties, and you can see that the Kafka is now running and it is started. Now you can create your topics on this Kafka, right? And there is a command to create it, and as you can see, we are going to create a real-time MQ as one of the topic, and then we are going to create real-time FB as another topic. Real-time MQ is for getting the messages from the MQ manager that we have used earlier, and real-time.fb is for getting the Facebook messages. So we have got two topics, and the Kafka is running, Zookeeper is running. We are ready to go and then write our application now to get this data into Kafka. The reason why we are getting this data into Kafka is later we will use UniConnect to read all these topics through in-memory SQL-based processing. So let's go now, and then let's get started with the MQ again, and we are now seeing the Windows machine. I'm remotely logging into the Windows machine through WebEx, and what we are doing is that we are putting some messages into that. Okay, so we are having a couple of messages there, and let us type in that messages, and then what we are going to do is we are going to read these messages after transporting them to Kafka, right? And we have already created the relevant Kafka topics for doing this thing. So let's run and do it. And do it is an AND script which will now connect to MQ. As you can see, a queue connection factory is getting connected, and what at the same time we are going to do is we are going to put the messages and then trying to read it, right? And let's now start UniConnect, and let's try to read it from Kafka 1. Look at that. All the messages that we typed in MQ, or all the messages that we have published at the MQ are getting retrieved. You can see some repetition. Why? Because I was testing earlier with many messages. That's why you are seeing so many messages that are coming there, right? And you will be able to read it exactly once using the Kafka's technology. So that shows how to read the MQ messages. Now, Kafka 2, the real-time messages. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the messages from the RHB group page in Facebook. So it is reading that. Now let us try to read the Oracle table. You got the data from Oracle, and let us we can execute the MySQL table in order to get the details from MySQL as well. In this way, seamlessly, you can unify the data from multiple data sources and get the output in a seamless way. Thank you.